I'm kind of a hot mess, and I'm using a hard filter because I feel like it. But I was thinking, because I like to make videos, and I think that a lot of that stemmed from the early days of YouTube, like back in 2009, when I would do little videos just chit chatting about my life, myself, who I was. And I made friends that way. I still have a lot of those friends. And even though we don't meet in person, we live in different states. They're still my friends. And so I do like to make videos like this. So if this ain't your kind of thing, you don't have to be here. I'm just saying. You don't have to be here. You don't have to comment. You don't have to give that thumbs down because you want some different content. You're on the wrong channel if you don't like what I'm putting out there. But I wanted to give a little update about my health situation, and that's pretty much it today. I just want to talk about that. As some of you may know, I had a stent, ureteral, I can't even say it, a stent put in my urethra back in the end of July. I lost my health insurance, and I work every day. And I just did not know how to handle that, so I was waiting until I could get insurance from my company or reinstate my Medicaid or something, and that didn't happen. But I got very sick Monday, had excruciating pain, and I knew I was going to have to leave and go to the hospital. Basically, I had an infection that was moving its way up my kidney. Now, I looked that up, and because when I got to the ER, the young ER doctor was a snot, a little shit. I don't know how else to put it. He was very nasty to me. And his last words going out of the room, I said, I'm in a lot of pain. Something is wrong. And I was thinking myself that I had an infection. But his last words as he walked out of the room the first time he came in was, well, our main goal here is to save people who are dying or something like that. I can't remember exactly what he said. But they ran some tests. They did some things. He come back a little later, and his tone was a lot different with me. And I did not realize why until I actually looked at what my condition was. And I could have been septic. I could have had a sepsis infection that could kill me. But anyway, he said, we're going to give you IV antibiotics, and we're going to give you some morphine for pain, and try to get you straight. We'll have a urologist come in and talk to you, blah, blah, blah. And they were going to do a CAT scan to see what the state of the stent was and where the stone is at and all that. Because I have a very large kidney stone. It's not going to pass on its own. They don't just spontaneously burst and come out. It's a 9 millimeter stone, which for reference is about the size of a blueberry. So that's a pretty big stone. And the urethra is between 3 and 5 millimeters, not inches, wide. And so that stone's never going to make it out of there. But anyway, they did the CAT scan. Then he comes back again with a smart-ass attitude and says, there's no kidney stone. I said, that is absolutely bullshit, because this stone did not pass on its own. If it did, it would have killed me because it is way too big to pass. And kidney stones are not smooth rocks. They are jagged shards of stone, and that's one reason they hurt, is because when they get on the move, they are ripping through your kidneys and trying to get down your urethra, and it's excruciating pain. So he, that kind of, I think he, in his mind, it validated his smart ass attitude that I was just a crazy bitch and there was no stone. I said, why would they put a stent in if I didn't have stones? I said, I've been dealing with kidney stones for 25 years. They never go away. You get rid of them by blasting them, then you grow more. But I didn't, I digress. I just gave up the fight. I was on the morphine. I didn't give a fuck what this little prick said. But he left the room, and I told my daughter, I said, that's impossible. That is just not possible. But then an actual expert had a look at it. So they moved me to a room to keep me overnight to do the antibiotics. And the urologist came in and said, you got a pretty big stone, but what happens most of the time is when they put a stent in, it pushes it upwards, and that's what happened. Your stone is further up than it was. It moved away from the urethra, and so anyway, he said, yes, absolutely, there's a stone there. It's very clear that there is, and you're going to have to follow up with your urologist and get this taken care of. And so they did send me home with medications through the pharmacy, so I would not have to pay for them, because it's a pretty strong antibiotic, and I'm fairly certain it's one I took years ago, and it's very expensive. But I am making sure to take it as prescribed, because I don't want to get a sepsis infection. So anyway, yeah, that's my story. I'm dealing with kidney stones. But anyway, yeah, kidney stones, so much fun.